How I Overcame Crack Addiction. Hello and welcome to Manzi Land, a place where men learn strategies to become better versions of themselves. Keep holding the line. It's your boy Justice, and in today's video, I want to share my personal story with addiction and how I overcame my desire to always get high. It all started with papaya leaves in primary school. We watched all these hit movies and the cool guys always smoked. Having no money, we crushed dry papaya leaves, rolled it up in a piece of paper torn from our notebooks, and smoked it. We did this whenever no adults were around or hit a nearby uncompleted building to light up. It didn't take long for cigarette and alcohol to enter the mix. We usually sneaked alcohol to school in water bottles or replaced the content of a fruit juice container with alcohol. Those were the days. We felt on top of the world and were the cool kids in school. Other students wanted to hang with us. We finally had the validation we so craved. But we had to upgrade. Marijuana was our next stop. We smoked it, cooked with it, and boiled it as tea. Soon enough, our tolerance increased and we needed stronger strains and higher quantities to get high. That was when we were introduced to Thailand and crack. Thailand is a milk-colored powder that we laced with weed in a Rizzler. The high was very intense and lasted longer. As always, I wanted to do more, show who was the boss. Thus began my destructive journey into the world of crack. The first time I smoked crack, I felt a high that is impossible to describe. Everything was just fine, all my problems forgotten, and an overwhelming self-love washed over my whole being. The problem is, the high of crack lasts only a few seconds, so I had to take more hits to get back to that happy place. Because when the high of crack wears off, I felt terrible, depressed, and in constant anger until the next fix. Crack also cost more than marijuana, so I was on a steady decline financially. Physically, I began to lose a lot of weight because crack killed any appetite for food. I couldn't get no new clothes. I lied a lot. I stole money at every opportunity and hurt a lot of people just to satisfy my crack addiction. My life was getting out of control. It was like they pushed the pause button on my life. It got to a point when I began selling my valuables. I sold my mattress, laptop, phone, jewelry, generator, and anything anyone would pay for. Sometimes I went with valuables to the dealer in place of cash to get my beloved crack. One day, I looked at my family, my mom, dad, and siblings. Then regret hit me like a ton of bricks. I could have made something meaningful from my life with all the time, energy, and money wasted on my addiction. I could have retired my mom and dad. I could have been a business owner, taking care of my family rather than contribute to their suffering. I cried and cried and cried for a long time. This is how my hatred for crack developed. I decided to fight this war and was determined to win. During my research on crack addiction, strategies of overcoming withdrawal symptoms was my major concern. I was determined to minimize the sickness I felt when off crack because this was the feeling that led me to do more crack, just to feel better. The first step was to accept the process will not feel good. Once I came to terms with this fact, the downtimes did not faze me anymore. Living in Nigeria, most of the drugs I researched online to ease withdrawal symptoms were out of reach Plus, I was broke at the time. The first day without crack was the hardest. I was weak, angry, sad, and felt so shitty about myself. My self-esteem was at the lowest point. I decided to take 2 tablets of paracetamol after forcing myself to eat some breakfast. Surprisingly, this simple painkiller paracetamol eased the withdrawal symptoms. The headaches and running nose were minimal. I couldn't believe it. To fight the psychological attraction to crack, I prepared some Indomie noodles with cannabis, coupled with cow liver and boiled eggs. After this meal, I relaxed a bit more as the weed kicked in. I was able to forget about crack for one day. A glorious achievement for someone who used every single day. It felt like getting out of solitary confinement, and I was determined to keep it that way forever. This was not the first time I had tried to stop, but something told me this time had to be the last, or else I would die. I discarded all my drug paraphernalia, avoided fellow users and situations that easily led to drug use. I began watching lots of comedy shows and writing lots of music again. God has given me a second chance, and I want to use this channel to help just one man realize that they can become a better version of themselves no matter the situation right now. If I can overcome crack addiction, I believe anybody can. You can ask me anything in the comments and I'll gladly get back to you. I will be posting more on this subject of addiction based on my experience. Never give up on yourself. Keep holding the line.